Yesterday, we made it all the way here to Kenneth Wilson Campground in the Catskill Mountains of New York. But the only reason we're here is because of one app that has completely changed the way that we travel plan, destinations we pick, and routes we pick to get there. We'll cover that more in a little bit because I think Carmen wants to go on a walk, and so we'll get that done before we start heading out on the road.
That's changed the way we travel is called GuideAlong. And this isn't the first time we're mentioning it. We mentioned it in our travels to Alaska. Honestly, I think we mentioned it in our last video. So if you couldn't tell, we do like this app, but we wanted to explain a little bit more because this isn't a travel planning app, how it changed the way we travel.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is I really enjoy audio tours and learning about stuff on the road. So one of the main things I did was I bought all of the GuideAlong tours that they have, and I put their locations on our Google Maps, just so I can always see them. Because we have the truck camper, the smaller RV, we can be a lot more spontaneous in our travels of destinations that we're going to. We're not as scared as when we had our 40-foot fifth wheel that was, 13 foot, 6 inches high. It allows us to just see that an extra hour out of the way and we can go and take a guided tour of the Catskill Mountains scenic highway, which is not something we would have ever just gone out of our way to do. With a guided tour, we get to learn about the history of the place. They call out the geology and, Native American history and just kind of everything, like certain wars that happened along the trail. And it just brings history to life and really helps you understand more the area that you're traveling through. We just did the Catskill Scenic Highway, and now we're heading to another GuideAlong tour on the Vermont 100 highway.
We just entered into the state of Vermont, so we stopped at the Welcome Center to make lunch. That's one of the other things I love about our truck camper is that it's just so easy to pull over, make lunch, go back in the truck and hit the road. And I'm gonna be making lunch with bread from the bakery that we stopped at that was recommended in the last GuideAlong tour that we just finished in the Catskills. That's one of my favorite things about the GuideAlong app is that you actually just get off the main highways, because I feel like when we were in the fifth wheel, that's all we took. It was just getting from one destination to the other and not enjoying what was in the middle. And so with GuideAlong, you kind of get all these little stops in between, and then he tells you what he recommends to do and see, and actually what's even worth skipping and not seeing. So we like that stuff as well. But that's why we ended up at this little bakery, got this fresh loaf of bread that we're now making lunch with.
One of the other great things that I personally love about GuideAlong is just the way the app works. We've tried so many different audio tours and some national park ones where it's just put the CD in and play, and hopefully you have your speed right and all of that for the audio that you're listening to be what's going on. But the GuideAlong app uses these little GPS points. So as long as you download the tour before you go on it, you don't need cell service. It'll just use your GPS on your phone. And as you pass through one of the points, it'll just start playing the audio of exactly where you are. And it'll start playing the audio exactly where you are. And as long as you keep going the speed limit, it shouldn't cut off before you get to the next one. The way GuideAlong works, we're able to listen to music, and it just dims the music and then plays his GuideAlong little spiel and then brings the music back up, and it just seems to work seamlessly, and I love it. When things just work the way they're intended, it gets me excited.
And I do want to throw it out there that this is not sponsored in any way. This is just an app that we discovered in Alaska. We really liked the tours. And so when we started travel planning for this year, we figured let's try and do as many of these as we can, because we get to learn about the area, we get to get off the beaten path, and then we get to find local things that we never would have before. We took a 4-mile detour off of the Vermont 100 to see the longest covered bridge in the state of Vermont. And that last part is very important because technically there is a covered bridge that is longer. However, it ends in New Hampshire, so they don't count it as the longest bridge in Vermont. This one is 277 feet long. So we got to stop at this historical site, walk the bridge, peek out the little windows so you can see the river. So it's stuff like this that we really like this app for, because we get to see things that we never would have stopped to see before just because we never would have even known about it. So now we're gonna get back on the Vermont 100 and see what else there is to see. Hey, did you know we made a tank treatment? It's called Tank Tune-Up, and it's a no-filler powder that breaks down waste, kills odors, and even cleans your tank sensors. Click the link in our description or find it on Amazon to get yours. All right, guys, we made it to our boondocking location. Where'd that branch come from? Jason's setting up the Starlink. We were incorrect earlier when we said that our destination was Maine. Yes, that is a destination. We completely forgot that we are stopping in Vermont. I forgot to tell you, we didn't forget that we were stopping here, but we're stopping in Vermont because we're gonna go treasure hunting. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, because there's gonna be more on that in tomorrow's video. Before we start our treasure hunting adventure, we got off the Vermont 100 and we found this boondocking location off of Forest Road 7? 10. Off of what highway?
Vermont 7.
Vermont 7. I'll put a map because I know by now I am not good at explaining things to you guys. It's so much easier to just overlay the map. We are about 10 miles up the road and there were 5 boondocking locations, and they literally were just tiny little pullouts off of this service road, and we thought nobody's gonna be up here. And also it's Monday, like nobody's gonna be up here on a Monday out boondocking. We were wrong. When you pass that first location and it's got a vehicle in it, you go, oh, well, no big deal. This is a first location. Then we passed the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. Then we got to the trailhead that we're taking tomorrow to go treasure hunting, and we were starting to get a little worried. So we're like, okay, well, there's only 3 more within the next 4 miles. Thank goodness, the 5th one was this one. And I actually think it's the best one. It's the biggest, it's further back from the road. Like there's the road. The other ones were like almost like little pullouts. They had a little more space and then they had a fire pit, but this is like set back into the trees. It's so beautiful. So I'm glad we didn't give up. I was starting to get really nervous thinking, uh-oh, we're gonna have to like go back to town and find somewhere else to stay. But no worries. I love it when things like this work out. We just finished our smash burgers for dinner, which were delicious.
Yum.
Being out here for a few hours now made us realize that we really haven't been boondocking in years. And like real boondocking where it's like you're completely self-sustained, there's nobody else around you, and it is dead quiet. So getting used to that again for me personally is gonna take a little bit, just because I always was weird about boondocking. I like boondocking with other people just because it makes me feel safer. I know we're safe up here, like it's totally fine. And look, worst case scenario, like we could pack up and leave. Or like I mentioned earlier, we passed 4 other campers coming in here. So I know like a mile down the road, we're really not alone, but it's a mental thing for me for sure. And I'm just interested if you have that too. Like when you go boondocking, do you try and get out there miles and miles away from everybody, or do you like the comfort of other people around?
And I personally know that we're completely safe out here. And keep reassuring Ray, we work really good at supporting each other when we're feeling a little bit nervous, even doing things we've done time and time again. Anyway, we have a big day tomorrow, so it's time to go to sleep.